And welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host as always, Tina. How you doing, Tina?
I'm hanging in there, Rob. How you doing?
Oh, nasally, and I have splints in my nose, and I'm trying to hang in there. And I know I wanted to get a show out this week, so I was like, let's just, get through it real quick. But sorry if I sound not the tip top.
It's okay, because I woke up with a headache, and I'm barely out of the shower trying to do this with you. And after this, I think I'm going to go back to bed. So
it's like we're both just dragging ass. So funny.
It happens.
So this week, my friend down the street just sent me a bunch of shit, ideas out of the top of her head. But she goes, California, and like what we were talking about and how it's so bad. So we were talking about California at lunch a while back. I think like maybe a week ago. Yeah. I think the Friday before I had surgery. So that was last Monday. And we were just talking about California and just how difficult it is comparative to the rest of the country. And look, I know everyone is going through hard times right now because the economy is shitty everywhere. But I think people who listen to the show outside of our friends that are in the state, really realize how difficult it is to live in California. And we were talking about just everything, like for obviously rent. She owns a house and her payment's decent. My rent, I have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. It's about 1,000 square feet. And I pay $22.17 a month.
Wow.
So yeah. And I pretty much pay it all myself, even though I had started making my son pay a little bit. My rent went up like $110. I was like, well, you're going to have to cover the $110 a month at least, in the meantime. I mean, so much that I was seriously talking to my friend down the street about just moving into her house and renting out 2 rooms because I would save money.
Mm-hmm.
So, so we were like, tennising back and forth, all these like, things about California, like obviously rent, unemployment's bad. What we all make isn't enough to cover a lot of the stuff for most people here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then you can just go down the slide of like the other crappy things that are going on, like homelessness. I know where you live, which is
bad right now.
Where you live, it's bad. You don't see it where I live as much, although she kind of told me a few little secret spots that like they hide out at, because we have this really long bike trail where I live. I mean, I mean long. It's like 6 or 7 miles long through the city. And she goes, oh, down on this street behind the Del Taco, there's like a bunch of homeless people. But you can't, they're not like I was in the valley not too long ago, and they're everywhere. And it's like tents and just, it's very not the valley I grew up in for sure.
Yeah. Well, the drug epidemic here is horrible too. People are dying daily from, I'm drawing a blank.
Fentanyl.
Yeah.
That
so we're having,
horrible.
People are literally walking zombies around here. There was a guy one day that was walking around. He was a rather tall black man, and he was wearing a very short, tiny miniskirt that looked like somebody had played tennis in at one point. And that's all he had on. And like, he was strung out of his mind, and he was banging on cars and yelling at people. And, wow. And I'm trying to get gas going, shit, I got to get out of here, because he's seriously not within his right mind. And then I watched him walk around the corner, and I went around the corner because I was done getting gas, and there was a huge encampment.
Wow.
Right behind all the businesses. So the businesses couldn't even use their parking lot because everybody was out there. And if you look at their faces, I was looking at their faces because I was driving slow down that area, and they were all completely strung out. And that doesn't help the homeless situation, because you cannot go into a shelter, which they have right down the street from where this place was. You can't go in the shelter if you're not sober. So all these really bad
Wow.
cases are stuck outside in the elements. They burn up underneath the bridge. the cars, are driving down the freeway on there. They burned something into the bridge, like into the side of it.
Right.
And there was, they were cleaning up all the homeless people, and they were trying to get the fire and whatever they had thrown underneath there. There was junk and there was tons of things that were set on fire. So it's gotten a little dicey here for sure.
Yeah.
There's places I won't go at night, and I've never been afraid to go anywhere. But as you get older and you see what's out there, it is a little bit scarier than when we were in our 20s and 30s, even 40s. It's gotten bad since COVID.
Right.
They tried to pick up everybody during COVID, but as soon as that was over, everybody had to scramble. So, and we've just got a huge number of homeless people.
Yeah, I was in Riverside not too long ago, and I was driving towards the freeway on ramp. And there was somebody strung out like you said, like a zombie. It was like walking, and it would stop and just like lean sideways for like minutes, and then just start walking again. So it's hard. Look, I feel for anybody who's homeless. I don't want to say that,
Yeah, it's one of my biggest fears is being homeless.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Me too. But it's one of those things that like it's out of control in this state because they refuse to take care of it. I was in downtown LA on Saturday doing a photo shoot. Thankfully, the GPS took us a different way back to the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
But it was me and my friend from down the street, and we were going back to the freeway, and I was telling her she used to go down to downtown LA all the time and get her daughter dresses for pageants and some other things. So she was like very familiar where we were at. And she was like, oh, it looks kind of the same, except there's more homeless people. So we went back going towards the freeway. We did see a little small encampment, but it wasn't like as bad. But I was down there probably like 8 months ago, and I happened to go down 4th Street, which is like a one-way street towards the freeway. And literally for 5, 6, or 7 blocks, it was just tents all the way to the curb on both sides. And like you said, people were cooking out there. They had like built these massive, houses out of, forts out of shit right in front of people's businesses, like all kinds of stuff. So I feel for them. I feel for the people who are the business people too. So these are, that's another thing that's big, in the state of California. And then traffic. I don't think people really understand how bad the traffic is in this state.
Yeah.
We left early Saturday morning to get to this photo shoot. And thankfully, we made it from where we live to downtown LA in about 58 minutes somewhere.
Which is pretty good.
Which was awesome. Made it home in about an hour and 30 minutes, which is still not horrible.
Yeah.
But, it was a Saturday, I'm sure.
How many miles is it from the place that you were at to the place that you were going?
Let's see. I can actually tell you. Let me look at my GPS here just so I can.
Because I guarantee you neither way was just a straight shot. You were in traffic at some point on both.
Yeah. So it's 43 miles.
Yeah.
And right now, if I left right now, it would take me an hour and 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not.
That's not bad.
It's not, because I take different freeways than you would.
Mm-hmm.
All these freeways took me to the 101 to get off the freeway. I couldn't imagine taking the 101 there.
Yeah.
It would have taken 2 hours easily.
I don't take the 101 ever.
Yeah, I try not to. But we were talking about that too. And it's just like, even no, I don't care where you live. The traffic is horrible. Right? It's horrible in California. There's just too many people here. And when you talk about, like, when I was in other states, when you talk to people, they talk like, hey, we're going to this town. How long is it going to take us to get there? And they go, it's about 58 miles. And in my head, I literally asked the girl, I went, well, how long is it going to take? She's like, I don't know, like 58 minutes, 65 minutes. Because here we don't talk in miles, we talk in time. Mm-hmm. How long is it going to take me to get there? Not how far away is it? Because that doesn't matter here. What matters here is how long is it going to take me? So I think, look, we've had a mass exodus in the state. People are leaving without a doubt.
Doesn't seem like it.
Well, because people are still moving here because they still think California is California. This is no way the California of the 80s.
No.
I mean, the California that me and you went to high school in is very, very long gone. When you saw homeless people in the late 80s or early 90s, it was like one or two. And it was, they had a shopping cart and you never saw them much.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like groups of people. They travel in packs. It's like gypsies. So for me, it's this one thing where you have to start thinking of like California as of what is the future of our state, right? Where do, my kid can't afford to live here.
Can we afford to live here? I mean, if you think about it, since I got divorced, if I wasn't putting the ADU on my dad's house and living here in the meantime with him, where would I be? I wouldn't be able to put up an ADU. Uh-huh. I would be blowing it all in rent, and rent here is astronomical. We're talking like $3,500 for just a 2-bedroom, and it's not a big 2-bedroom. We're talking a small 2-bedroom.
Yeah, like 850 square feet.
Yeah. And I'm grateful that I can live with my dad, and that I can build here, and that I'll be staying here, close to home, like right next door. So, but if I didn't have what I had, it would be a very different story. Mm-hmm. And I would be very worried for my future.
Yeah. And I think that's the bigger thing is, with my friend down the street, she's worried that if someone gets in as president, that, they're talking about raising property taxes and charging on what it could be worth.
And getting rid of Prop 13. I don't even know why everybody wants to mess with Prop 13. It was voted in. It's in. That would be a huge problem.
It would be a killer.
For everybody.
For everyone. It's going to be a huge killer. So she's worried, like, and for good reason. Mm-hmm. Like she was, seriously kind of saying like, if certain things fall into place, she'll just sell her house.
Yeah.
Because paying rent would probably be easier or, more affordable because of not having to pay property taxes, blah, 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 whatever it is. And it's crazy. Like, we grew up in the, own a home, and now, if things go the way they are with like BlackRock buying up all these homes and then wanting to rent them out, we're all going to be renters. No one will own a home anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you should see in our neighborhood, everybody's that's selling, it's all these investors coming in, picking up the property, gutting the places, and then they're adding 2 and 3 homes on the same property.
Yep.
There was once just a 1-family
dwelling
property.
Yeah. Right down the street from my house, and I'm talking probably maybe a full block, but like with a light in between, but a full block. There's been a empty piece of property for the 4 years I've lived here. Mm-hmm. It's big. It's a big piece of property. They're like double slots, but for each home. Well, I was driving by the other day and I saw a big sign because, they have to put a sign outside saying that they're going to build something.
Mm-hmm.
It's all 16-unit duplex.
Wow.
And here's the crazy thing. It's in the middle of houses. So it's going to be house, duplex, house.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be pissed if I lived next to that.
They're doing that right down the street from us, on the other side of the 118.
So
they're doing the same thing.
So you're going to have presumably 16 families
and all their cars
on a city street that doesn't have parking.
Well, not only that, but across just the other side of Woodley, they're putting up a 100-unit single family apartments right now. With underneath is going to be stores that they're going to, have there, and then all their housing will be above that, and they're only giving one parking spot to each place.
Yeah.
Well, so if two people are living there and they're both drivers, what are those 100 extra cars going to do?
Yeah.
Where are they going to be? And they're butted up right next to the high school. And it's just insane. It's insane. And they're supposed to be low income.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens next with that.
Yeah. Similar over here where I live in the Inland Empire. So I was talking to her about the same thing. She works in the metal industry, and right down the street from her business, there's been a big lot for, again, years.
Mm-hmm.
And out of nowhere, I started seeing them dig a hole. It's going to be an apartment complex.
Yeah.
There's a old strawberry field out here that has like this really bitchin' barn in front of it. And I thought it was open forever. And out of nowhere, another sign, they want to build a stack and pack apartment building on top of it.
Wow.
But I had heard that the people are bitching and moaning, trying to get them to keep the strawberry field open. So, but generally that's not what's going to happen. So lots of stack and packs and just, getting people, but now traffic. So it's traffic on the street, parking will be impossible. If you own a home, everyone's going to be parking in front of your house. So it's like these things where the more people that are in this state, and again, people, there's no jobs. There's not a lot of jobs, at least, that can support, living here, first of all.
And a lot of restaurants have gone out of business too. So around where I am, there's not the same businesses that there were. There's not the same restaurants by any means near us that are any good. Or it's a different place here.
Yeah. Well, didn't that cool pizza place down the street from you go out of business?
It did. And then it came back up with other owners, and the other owners are really nice, and their food is good, but it's not the same. So you got the old timers bitching that nothing's the same. And then you got the new ones that are coming in and everybody's like, oh, it's a bougie place. It's not a bougie place. It's a really good place. The food is excellent.
It's
just not the same. And if you're not going to give them a chance, then of course it's going to be everything but happy over there.
Right. And look, there's a shopping center over by me that when I moved here, full. There's 4 empty slots in it now.
Mm-hmm.
Down the street from where she lives, there's another similar one where our gym is, and there was a cafe in there. And a matter of fact, we were just there picking up a pizza the other day, and I was like, she goes, "Oh, you should try this cafe right here. They have good breakfast." I'm like, "Oh, cool." I go, "What about that one over there?" And she goes, "It's out of business." And I was like, I just saw people there like not too long ago. She was like, "Yep." They said they were trying to raise the rent and they closed it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's not just our rent, it's everyone's rent. And I think people think if you own these properties, I'll just fill them. They're not going to fill these things. They're going to be empty because they're trying to raise rent because I'm sure cost of everything is going up. So, this state is it's getting to a point where you either don't want to live here for whatever reasons. The government here is horrible. Our governor's a piece of shit. I mean, unless you support him, but I just think that
I don't support Newsom after being a hairdresser.
Yeah.
During COVID.
Well, I mean, I'm saying any of our listeners that may You know, I don't know. I know people who are pretty hardcore Democrats and fucking hate him.
Yeah.
They're just like, we are over it. I just think that that's the biggest thing for us now is to just revolt against the system. It's like we have to find a way to fix California again, make it affordable, but for people to live here, because
but the
most of
problem
us
is they keep raising taxes, but they're not accountable for what they use the money for.
Absolutely.
So we have enough money to fix the problems of California. We just need somebody to balance the books, be right about it, and start putting the money where it belongs instead of in their pockets.
Right.
We're having a hard time with that.
I mean, I know he had tons of money, but we're in a deficit now. I don't know where they got rid of. Yeah, we're in a huge deficit. I remember, I want to say it was maybe in the early 2000s, which is scary to say 24 years ago. But I remember when they were talking about this state being bankrupt. Like, how? We're the 5th largest economy on this planet. Not in America. We're a country, and we're it's because they keep giving the money away for nothing.
We have the highest taxes of anywhere in America.
Yeah.
The second is New York. The third is Hawaii.
Yeah. So we're just burning bridge after bridge after bridge, and it sucks because you were born here and raised.
I was born 2 miles from where I've lived my whole life.
I was born and raised. My friend down the street, born and raised in California. So, and that's kind of what we were talking about, because we were at her work eating lunch and just bitching and moaning about rent. Because she's like, man, my mortgages, and they want to fucking raise my property taxes, and they want to do this. And she's like, they're making it impossible for me to live here. And again, she's in the medical industry. She does quite well for herself. And even her, who's been doing it, she's like, I think she just did 25 years where she's at. She's stressed out over, bills. And I went across the board and asked a bunch of other friends of mine after, and we're all like that. Everyone's like, fuck. And it was funny because she asked me, how do you do it? Because obviously my car payment's more than hers and my rent's more than hers. And I sent her a screenshot of my my Outlook calendar that has all my bills and shit on it. And I was like, because I do this way. Plus I go, look, I'll take her to lunch, but I don't do that very often. So I pinch pennies here and do this and do that. And, whatever it takes. But we shouldn't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yeah.
This state, look, we talked about leaving the state. What would happen? And she's like, oh, I looked at these states just for shits and giggles. She wasn't really looking to leave, just to find out what she would make elsewhere. And she's like, I won't make, near as much. And I was like, yeah, but the cost of living in that state is way different. I'm like, a house payment in that state instead of, $2,100 is probably $1,400. So you're, apples for apples, orange for orange, whatever. So I said, look, you would be okay. And, you're in a medical field, you're going to be okay. Now me, I might have a harder time because I'm in sales, and, I would have to move to a state that, because I'm in wholesale electronics. So I sell to custom installers. So you have to have a market for custom installs, right? So California is great because people here want to spend money on TVs and speakers. So I'd have to go somewhere where that is prevalent. I also come from the alarm side, so I could really kind of go anywhere in this country because people put in alarms regardless, thank goodness that.
Well, shit, with the way everything's going, they have to. Yeah.
Well, crime, look, I hate to say it, but crime for that industry is amazing. the more crime, the more
better you guys do.
Yeah, the better we do.
Yeah.
We used to joke that we needed a serial killer.
Yeah.
Because when there's a serial killer, man, everyone's putting in alarms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other night I was taking a walk down the street and people fly down the street like it is it's an interstate. Like it's amazing how fast they go. And this person ran into the back of a truck and kept going, pushed the truck up on the curb and kept going. And so it was a hit and run. Everybody came out because the noise was so loud. I turned around and went back and was being nosy, of course, to see what had happened. And we saw this car making all kinds of noise going down the street. And they're probably going to get away with it because crime is also up. And and they're dealing with the homeless and they're dealing with all this other crap. And now all these smash and grabs that are going on, they will probably never catch that person that ran into the back of that truck.
Yeah.
And I went kind of looking because I'm just nosy and, wanted to, but there was nothing to see. I couldn't find the people.
Well, and then the police are so busy that mostly where you live, try calling the police in the San Fernando Valley and see what happens. I guarantee you it's probably at least 20 minutes.
I don't know.
I'm guessing.
I've had really good luck because there's the police station right down the street now.
On Mission, right?
It's on Sepulveda, but it's actually across the street from the homeless.
Right. I have a friend who works there, actually.
Yeah, the homeless
encampment.
No, the mission, like it's like a mission situation.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I don't know. We get really good response. And there's actually, I see a lot of police driving up and down the street because I like to sit in my car and listen to music before I go in just because all the construction and everything. So if I have a call I need to make or a text I need to do, I'll sit out in my car and you'll see 3 or 4 cop cars roll by on any given day. So I'm lucky for that. But
yeah, where I live, we have a police department, but they're contracted sheriff, San Bernardino sheriff. So they're everywhere here. Like I see them driving all the time. So and from what I understand, good response time here because where I live, there's not as much crime.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but either way, I always tell people because the better the area, the more likely your house is to get broken in. Because they're not breaking into the shitty neighborhoods because there's nothing there. When we were talking, she was telling me about some of the doctors that she works for live up above in these really nice houses and they're all getting hit. Like, yeah, because
that makes sense.
They have shit. No, because the criminals know that these big houses are going to have nice stuff in it. It's like, yeah.
You know what we're also having are the kids having their races down the street and also doing their donuts in the intersections now. So
really?
Yeah.
There?
Yes. San Fernando Mission and Woodley. They're spinning their wheels going around. It sounds horrible. There was a couple accidents the other night because of it. And then everybody zooms down the streets. You could hear them zooming down the street as if, they're trying to get away from police. And there's hundreds of kids in cars doing it. And, you see if you're on social media at all, kids are getting hit. I mean, these people don't know how to make their cars go in a way that's safe. And they're running into people trying to videotape them for their their YouTube channel or whatever.
Yeah, all the time. I see those stupid videos all the time of people getting wrecked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't see that around here where I live. Or at least haven't heard of it. Yes, that's probably very true. Pretty lucky.
Balboa and San Fernando Mission, which is always a very high traffic area, has all those right now. All the circles from the donuts.
No way.
I swear. Come on down. Check it out. I'm not lying.
That's a crazy intersection right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like very busy. Like
Very
right off the
busy.
118.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What happened?
There's not, we defunded the police, and
Yeah.
we brought down the criminal responsibilities for doing what they do.
Yep.
And so what did we expect?
I just saw something on, I want to say Instagram. It might have been YouTube, but I'm not sure. But there's a store, and they didn't say what they sold, but there's a sign on the door. And this is no bullshit because I saw the actual pictures in front of the store. It said, all items in store are $950. And it goes, it says, your non-criminal discount will be taken off at the register.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And it said it. So what they're saying is if you walk through the door, they're telling you that everything that's in the store is above the limit and you're going to go to jail.
There you go. And that's how it should be.
I was like, but it was great. It's all your non-criminal discount will be taken off at the register. I was like, damn.
That's awesome.
I think it's awesome, but it's sad that California has come to something like that you have to do something so stupid.
Is there such a thing as too liberal? Because that's what we become. And the more liberal we are, the more we're taking 5 in the ass. So this is just our punishment for not taking a stand on crime.
Yeah.
They have
agree.
right now, they have teenage gangs that are coming into 7-Elevens and they're robbing 3 and 4 in a couple hour period. They're taking all the money, they're taking whatever else they want, and they're walking out. And they come out with their bikes and their skateboards, and then they go to the next place and they do the same damn thing. They don't even have cars.
Right.
Now, where in the hell are these parents? Because they all need a good ass kicking. I guess one lady saw that her son was a part of it, and she turned him in. She's like, I'll be damned if you're going to turn into a criminal. Let's stop this now.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but you blame them?
No.
I mean, we've made it okay to be a criminal in this state. Like literally.
Well, we also made them feel like they're entitled to everything and every whim that they have. So why would they not just walk in, take what they want? We taught them to be like that.
Right. No, that's what I mean.
Kids don't work for shit anymore. And then when they work, they're so obnoxious. You can't even go to a Jamba Juice where one is working. And if you say thank you, they just look at you like you're a dumbass.
Yeah.
They don't even know how to interact with people.
It's true. I totally agree with that. It's just a different. I mean, I hate to be that guy that just sounds like the old fart, but
now we have become the old farts.
But we've become the old farts. I mean, I get it. I mean, look, I'm just as much one of those people that like to unpeople and just go away. That's what my friend down the street said one time. She was at work and she was going to lunch and she goes, yeah, I think I'm just going to go unpeople at lunchtime today. And I was like, unpeople, that's perfect. That is the greatest thing I've ever heard. Just get away from every human being in the building. Like I'm going to unpeople. I guess she goes, I went to my car and just sat in my car and just unpeopled. And I was like, the funny thing is that for me, I totally understood it right away because sometimes you have to just get away because we've made even the people in this state are so condescending and so entitled. Everyone thinks they're entitled to everything. Now you say no to a customer and they don't know what to fucking do. Like, what do you mean? No, I can't do that. We have a guy who comes in to my work and I'm utterly not bullshitting. Every single time he buys something, and I'm in wholesale, so very small margins anyway. He goes, is that my price? Yeah, dude, this is wholesale. You have to have an account to buy here. That's everyone's price. So, and I think it's rolling over, and this guy's an older guy, but it's rolling over now to everything. Everybody's like, it's my price. It's, what's my price? Or, no one haggles with Walmart. But heaven forbid you have a small business and they want to haggle you to the ground. So, and soon there won't even be small businesses in this state because no one can afford the rent.
Right.
So, you know, I think what we are kind of talking about in the bigger scheme of thing is you get what you paid for, right? You put in shitty politicians to make shitty laws, and now it's going to drive away. You're going to have no choice but to go to Walmart and Target because that's all it's going to be left.
Yeah. Or you could buy online.
Or you're going to
go through Amazon like everybody else is doing.
But you know, so we're there won't be the American dream anymore. No one's going to have a business. It's going to be 5 companies are going to run the planet. And you know, look, we don't have a lot of time left. And I say that like 25, 30 years isn't a lot of time, but you know, what's going to happen to this state in 40 years?
I don't know. We need to take it back. I was saying today, you know, like we're supposed to be voting tomorrow, and everything that I'm reading up on is bullshit one way or another. You know, it's like, oh, well, you know, if we do this, then the schools will get more money. Schools got so much damn money. Where's it going? Show me where the money is going. Or, you know, we need more police officers. Well, that was an understatement. I thought we defunded them. So you want to give the money back? Or, you know, and they're talking about taxes, raising taxes again. You can't bleed money out of a turnip. And that's what they're doing. But where is all the money that you're already getting? Because if our taxes are the highest in the whole country, what are you doing with that money? And why are we not living better than we are?
Yeah. Why isn't someone liable?
Yeah. Yes. And why are our veterans and our homeless not handled? Yeah. Veterans should be taken care of. They should not be living on the streets by any means. Absolutely. They should have all the medical that they need to fix whatever's going on with their PTSD or their you know, their phobias and things that they've come back. That should be handled first. Yep. The borders are just bleeding into the U.S. Now, I'm Native American. I don't believe in the borders. You know, we come from a place where everybody got along and they traded as they needed to, and we took care of our own. But that's not the case anymore. Now we've got all these people just bleeding into our country to where it's taking from us. We can't take care of ourselves. Yeah. So it's time to stop bleeding our economy, stop the borders. Everybody has to come in the same way. You're going to do it legally or you can't do it at all. And that's what we should be doing because we need time to be able to take care of the people that we already have here and the people that are actually native to here that need to be handled first and foremost before anybody else.
Correct. And look, you know, I think a lot of people think Mexico, right? Because all these Mexicans are coming
It's not Mexico.
It's not. I mean, there are, but it's everywhere on I saw video of people coming over the border that were from another continent. And that means not South America or Central America. A whole
There's
other
a lot
continent.
Coming from South America, though, for sure.
No, there is. Look, the Honduras, there's tons of places. Look, there's a lot of communist countries down there that, you know, people want socialism and communism. Look at Central America.
Yeah, they had to just go and stay there for a while.
Yeah, trust me, you'll think you're in the greatest country on the planet. But I mean, there's a lot of people coming from other continents, and for me, I don't give a shit if you're coming from England. Don't come here. We don't have room. You're right. We have to kind of stop, sustain, see what we need to do. You know. And
we don't need to bring in everybody. I get it that we're a melting pot. I totally get that.
Me too.
But why can't we bring them in as we could afford them, as we could accommodate them, as we could help them, as we could take care of our own and whoever else is coming in? That's just smart business. That's just smart. That's just being smart in general. So why is that not happening? And why is all this money that's already going, all these billions of dollars that's going out for it, why isn't it getting better?
I agree. I mean, and look, whatever your opinion is on what's going on in Europe, you know, we have to stop sending money to fund these wars. You
They're
know,
not our problem.
no, you know, and then you look at this state, like I said, at the end of the day, you have to look at this state as like a country, and why we're in this mess has a lot to do with what we just talked about. Unresolved tax money. No one could you imagine if you sent your taxes into the IRS, you fuck up one line and they want to audit you, but no one's audited the state of California.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if property taxes go up, how they're talking, a lot of people are going to lose their homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean a lot of people.
That's why you got to be careful of how you're voting right now.
Yeah. And
you can't trust who you're voting for anyway. So how's that?
I just think that first grassroots shit, like if you can, regular people need to start trying to get into these positions of power instead of letting a bunch of people who are career politicians suck them dry and live in big houses while we live in nothing.
Yeah.
California, look, we have a governor who's more worried about traveling to become the president than he is about governing his own state.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that, you know, after an hour conversation at lunch about this state, and like, look, I love this state. I left it for 2 years and it was so nice to come back home.
Mm-hmm.
But it's getting harder and harder to see the future here because I don't know if we're going to be able to, you know, with the rent situation. Like I said, I seriously, and I mean 100% serious, was like, I should probably, you know, rent your rooms because everyone will win. Like she would now pocket $2,000 that I could pay for her mortgage, and then and if she paid the bills, I would pocket that I pay here. I think we're all going to be in very weird situations with renting rooms from people or tons of roommates. Like I told my son, because he kind of said something about, oh, you know, when you grow up, it was different. And I was like, okay, my first apartment I got was in 1991. I made $6.50 an hour. My rent was $900. It was me and 2 other guys that rented an apartment. I go, so we were all in the same situation, dude. It's the same.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have lived on my own on $650. I couldn't have. So I made it work because I didn't want to be at home. So
Right.
California has always kind of been like this. It just wasn't as bad in the 90s. You know, the 90s were good to us, or pretty much. There were a couple of times. And then once the 2000s came, things started getting slicey and dicey and kind of shitty. So my whole thing is just, you know, for people who are listening to this show that are outside of the state, and look, I'm sure a lot of them have the same stories because I've heard that rent all over the country is kind of out of control. But this state is just a different monster. And for the people who listen that are in the state, like, look, it is a good state. I can't, there's some great parts about this. The weather is impeccable. You know, there's years that it's in February, it's been 70 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
we've had Christmases where we're outside riding our bikes in t-shirts and shorts.
Yeah.
And that's the majority of the time.
It is.
Yeah.
Within reason. I mean, I talked to my dad when he moved to South Dakota. The first year they had 4.5 feet of snow.
Hell no.
Yeah. So, and they were like, you should move here. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, I can't move to a state like that. My whole thing is just, you know, to talk about the mess that this state is in is an understatement. And I just think that, you know, look, I'm sure there's stories out there that are very similar to this because of economies and, you know, inflation and the cost of groceries. But here, gas prices are out of control because we are so environmentally friendly. They won't fucking drill for gas off of here because the progressives are out of control. My thing is, look, California's a great state. Are we going to end up living here forever? Who knows? But there is a bigger crisis in this state that I think going forward, we're going to have to try to fix it. I really hope that after this mess of years, the next time the governor comes up for a re-election, they finally dump his ass and see if we can't restart.
I think everybody that's been in a position of power, we need to get rid of and start putting different people in.
Yeah. And that's all over the country. But this state, there's just too many. Because I live in a pretty red city. There's a lot of American flags here. There was a Trump rally down the street from here on Saturday.
There were people driving their cars and honking and yelling at people. And it was so scary because I was walking, excuse me, and there was almost a fight.
Yeah.
Just the people screaming from corner to car because they don't believe in it. And I was like, oh shit, just get me out of here. I don't want to be a part of all of this.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, and again, I just think that, look, there's always going to be Democrats and Republicans. I just think that this state is, I think, shifted a lot. I think that you're going to see, look, the Trump's not going to win California for sure. But I think that you're going to see a lot more votes than you think. This is a pretty red state outside of San Diego, LA, and San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, look, my last thing is I love the state. I'd love to stay here forever, but I just don't know if that's going to be the reality going forward. I guess we'll see, in the next few years. But let's hope that we can at least change something up. Because I'd love to have the 90s back.
I would like to be able to walk down the street without worrying about it, being hit by a car, or have the homeless, shake me down,
or someone breaking your house, or that kind of thing.
I'm not worried about because we have so many people in and out of our house all the time that you can't tell who's gone and when they're gone or what.
Right.
I don't worry about that, but the houses across the street's been hit several times because the man lived alone. So yeah, that's something that we should worry about. I just don't because.
Shit, just walk into your car. Crime's up so much that, and people are now getting desperate. And when desperate times, shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right, darling. Well, it's nice seeing you again after a week off of my
Glad
nose
you're
surgery.
Feeling better. Yeah.
I'm doing all right. And hopefully Wednesday I get out my splints and I won't sound like I'm pinching my nose shut. But any last words?
I hope that y'all get out and vote tomorrow. This is going to come out after voting, but I hope that you got your asses up and actually helped out the situation instead of just bitch about it.
Yep. Try to change the world.
Yep.
All right. Well, this is an opinion show. Don't get it twisted. Keep coming back every Wednesday. Check us out on the social medias. Listen to us all. Share it. All that good stuff. Until next Wednesday, I'm Rob. That's Tina. Talk to you later.
See ya.